Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today, giving you some top locations for you to go and build your base in Grounded 2. Some are great for resources, some are good for location with the current progress of the map right now, some definitely more for the future or just a bit of fun. I've also tried to give you guys some little sense ideas, not just showing you a random location with nothing in it, so hopefully you'll appreciate it. Also including maybe a forbidden place, as said earlier, could be good for the future. But wait, there's more. I want to see your builds. Come join my Discord and share your pictures of your base, some great locations, anything cool you found, and I'll try and show them off in future videos, as well as ones I want to show off today. So do make sure you're subscribed. If you want to help out even more, get that notification bell dinged, and do like the video if you find it useful. Let's go. So literally my first 45 hours in the game have been spent pretty close to the starting area. On the bottom right corner there are some wooden planks holding up the actual hot dog stand so it's nice and even, and this has been my home. As a beginner spot, I think this is actually one of the best in the game. Creatures can't get up there as long as you're making sure you don't build too much of a staircase. You can just hop up the planks yourself. You're really close to the general gear that you need in the early days, plenty of resources, and you're not too far off from the first ranger station to go and analyse and scan stuff. Probably have stayed here a bit longer than I really should have. I did have plans to move to a bigger location halfway through my playthrough, but in the end I just decided I wanted to concentrate on finding more gear. And I definitely wanted to get lots of resources so I can build the brand new pine walls for a spectacular new base. So a boring one to start off with, but honestly if you're starting off as a fresh playthrough or with some friends, I think it's a good location to set up for the first few days. Literally can't miss it as you have to go past it coming out of the starting area to the first ranger station. You can always expand or just go ahead and enclose it with some fences, and do be careful though, some of the orc raids they may actually run away if you don't engage them somehow when they do come to attack you. But overall a good solid start to have your first maybe outpost. Next one's even closer to the ranger station. In fact, it is the ranger station. Loads of you guys have been telling me been building in here. Shout out to Tiny Pirate Gamer, who's the first person I see do this, where you can literally build inside. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of this. In terms of protection, for sure, you will not get hurt by any bugs raiding, as I don't think they can even come through the main door unless it's really following you. So you could easily put some more defences around it and you'd be good to go. Maybe a bit finicky to get it going, and I'm sure there's lots of methods out there to make this simpler, but effectively you just need to lay down some sort of floor, whether it be foundations or grass walls. Try using the smaller little squares as they tend to work best, or the double ones. Obviously the plus points, yes, you're going to be exactly close to the resource analyzer. They'll be able to go ahead and scan all your resources and build up your brain power much quicker, unlocking new recipes. Not to mention being able to go ahead and buy and unlock things like your Omni tool. But to me it does feel a little bit cramped. It's a bit of a jokey one, and I'm guaranteeing the devs will probably patch it out in the future, but don't worry, they normally don't mess up bases that are already there. You just might not be able to place anything. So yeah, take advantage actually of the area in front, which in my opinion is just as good. The area in front of it is really round and flat, so it wouldn't be too hard to go ahead and lock places off. Apart from a few larvae and maybe some spiderlings nearby, it's relatively safe, although you have to always be careful for them wolf spider patrols. These really aren't in any big order. I'm not saying one's number one or anything, they're just some cool places or what I think's interesting. And one of the places is on the bench that you find, the wooden log bench at or near the campfire. Future updates, we're probably going to need a lot more of the charcoal, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to unlock loads of ovens to cook more mushrooms, as mushroom bricks are going to be returning. So my idea for this base was it's pretty much going to be a furnace smelter base, maybe my crafting hub. You're pretty protected on this log other than a few spiderlings, and depending on how you build your access down, you can make it even safer. The only maybe limit is maybe flying creatures that you'll have to take care of a bit more with some turrets, or good access to the roof. I'm also banking on the future being able to unlock the burr flooring again, and that'll be something I'll be utilising, as there's plenty of them around here, and you are really close to the pines area to get lots of the pines needed if you're going to be making the pine walls, and you're not too far off some of the milkweed as well for the actual thatch roofs. So these really are just shells. I'm not trying to show off my build skills because they're very lacking, but just give you a sense and idea of what you could do. And my idea would be that I'd have this, like I said, as crafting, put a bunch of ovens inside my little chimney here, and then they'd be all active and good to go. Slight downside, it is at the very top of the map, so it's got limited use in terms of getting across to other places quickly and easily, but now with mounts that makes life a bit easier. And some might feel the view is kind of dead, but I kind of like the vibe of seeing a cozy campfire burning. But otherwise, it's also a good joiner in between the statue and rosebed area, as well as the pines, utilising this log to go over pretty safely. And from the way the road map's laid out, we know we're going to be facing against maybe Axel in the future in the top left, but also there is a section in the right that looks like it's going to be developed in the future too. So yeah, maybe more, like I said, an outpost for crafting and smelting, and something for the next updates. One that took me ages to find again because I never marked it the first time I encountered is a actual hollow log. It's massive, you can put different floors in, and I think this place is really cool. There are some little bugs and niggles at the moment where you can't build in certain dirt piles and stuff, but it does look like that's going to be fixed pretty soon, meaning you'll be able to clip in a lot more to certain structures and stuff. This actual location's really good as it's pretty centre of the current playable areas right now, and it's filled with abundant resources that you would expect. Maybe be careful about blocking it up too much though, as you want lots of that natural light feeding through. That's going to give you a natural defence from the skies of any air raids, which aren't a huge deal at the moment, but I'm predicting in the future we may have to worry a bit more. And as I said, at the moment with some bugs, there may be a few little gaps, but I'm sure that's going to be rectified. And with a bit of movement around, and especially using some of the smaller pieces, you should be able to fill in a lot. And yeah, it's big enough for multiple floors to be honest, so lots of space and lots of protection. The area in front of one side of the log is also really flat and big as well, so you could always expand to make even larger castle or base. And at the back you've got a pretty good trench that leads out to the areas close to where Burgle is. And that's where this is located, in between Burgle and the ice cart. So you've got easy access to go back to get some of the chocolate chips, maybe icicles and more. And if you're playing a WoW mode and you want a steady supply of all Weaver eggs, even better location as you'll be able to go and get some of the eggs from underneath Burgle's body. This is really one of the best central points for the current playable area that you can really find. Only slight downside, it's not immediately right next to any resource analyzer. If you're a solo player, maybe you just want a bit more of a cozy hobbit life. So how about building a self inside a cave? I'm really pleased to see some of these areas you can actually build in, whereas in Grounded 1 they were really restricted. More so for quick outposts if you really need them. But you never know, if you really like the miniature life of just building in small confined spaces and utilising maybe the slight outsides for a bit more storage, I think this place could be really cool. And to be honest, there's loads of places like this that you're able to build. Just be careful about what creatures may lurk or come through, as this place definitely had some larvae, you might have to deal with them a little bit more. In terms of setting up defences, really easy, just block in either side. So really small amount of resources to make sure you're defended. And once they've sorted out a little bit of glitchiness with building into the dirt, pretty much be able to block off the other entrance with just a simple doorway. So not everyone likes this kind of small space, but I figure, like I said, good place even just for an outpost. In fact, it's pretty close to where we just were, but not as much effort needed to go ahead and build if you want somewhere central to the main starting areas. Literally a stone throw away from the ice area. How about something a little bit more humour? Living in a shoe, old Mother Hubbard? Again, suitable for more smaller, cozy living, but it is really funny to say that you live in a sneaker. Like, are these meant to be maxes? Did they get blown off, or was it his spare pair? But again, really simple. You can block off the entranceway, and then with a little bit of foundation building or floor building, you should be able to then place a lot more inside. There's another one of these in the unexplored zone that will be coming in future updates as well, so you could even have a pair of bases. A pair of sneakers. Just make sure you loot the body before you maybe wall him in a small tomb, and yeah, you will need to place a lot more of foundations or floors to get the most out of the space. But really love the way the light just shines in if you left the top bit open. Chuck a web bouncer outside and you've got a quick and easy way to get to your roofs and hopefully defend against any attacks. And just over the way, underneath a paper airplane, there is an area that I think would be great to have as your nests and mount places. So it's slightly to the southwest of the ice cart, so good location to go and get lots of blueberries from the blueberry trees in the southeast. And for future updates, a really good spot as well. Also got plenty of the anthills nearby if you need more mounts, but a bit of a trek to go all the way north to get lingonberries and more of the pines and stuff. Maybe the last of the cozy living, or more maybe actually outside living. I really love this spot. It's obviously inspired by Stonehenge, which I used to see on a weekly basis travelling between where I live and visiting my older son in London. A really cool spot. There are places you can build inside it. You will have to maybe take care of the mushrooms or use them as a feature to build up your mushrooms for eventually when we will be able to make the slurry and cook them into the mushroom bricks. There are also a few little spiderlings and stuff that hang around this area too, so you may want to build even just next to it or only part of it and leave some of the mushrooms so they can grow. Definitely maybe something for the future, as it's right on the border of the unexplored areas like the pond. So yeah, with the bug fixing coming, hopefully by the time you're watching this video it's actually happened, you should be able to go ahead and build some walls in between the stones and just leave the centre place pretty open without necessarily needing a roof. Again, really prime location for getting berries. It could be another outpost while you get resources for building a tree base on a nearby oak tree. Look out for a wolf spider that roams pretty close to this place. And super near as well again for the ice cart, so you can get the chocolate chunks to make the extra healing smoothies. So that's all fine and dandy, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have got big projects on the horizon, so of course you may want to build on a deck outside the hot dog stand. It's the most obvious, hence why I've kind of left it late in the video, although there is another spot you might want to consider building a big massive project. But in terms of flat space, plenty of resources nearby and relatively close to the centre of the map in terms of being able to progress to different zones like the pines as well as the south. It's pretty good. A little bit of a trick at the moment to get up, really super easy, is to walk on the sides of the webbing until of course you do get yourself a orb buggy, and it's a bit of a shame that you can't actually build into some of the things on here like the paper cup. I was hoping that I could make that like a special little vault, but there's nothing you can actually place in it at the moment. Make sure you build it relatively close to the edge so you've got some nice balconies, a few stairways either way, and you won't have to worry about actually getting up here. And yeah, it's really close to the picnic table where you'll be able to pick up some blueberries. They do respawn after a good few days underneath the blanket at the very top. And you're really close to where the lingonberry hedges are, as well as the pine area, not to mention all the other stuff. It's just a good location. Maybe even more so once you've done the main story content at the statue, as there looks to be not many reasons to go back to it, so you won't necessarily need to go over to the east side of the map for a good while. So next up, a few locations you guys were telling me in the live stream where I actually recorded this all live. A lot of you guys really like the Pebble Village lunchbox, as it's got obviously the roof stuff. You can build on top of it as well, given maybe a little bit of work with some planks and setting up a fake floor. Relatively easy to block off, again once the glitch goes with the dirt, although I wasn't that keen, mainly because of the spider nest living nearby. Maybe if you get rid of every sort of egg sac, that will stop them from respawning. But the constant sounds of them kind of moving about did put me off a little bit. But a great place to come obviously just for your candies, so yeah, definitely worth bearing that in mind at least. And a good prime location for later in maybe the next year or so when we've got more updates incoming, right on the border's edge. Some other smaller silly stuff you can actually build in some of the ice cream cones, so if you want to put up just a waypoint base to go and explore, make sure you do this. It'll be nice, cheap and easy. A few grass walls blocking out one of the cones that's just on the edge so you don't actually get the chilling effect, and you're good to go. And for more cheesers like enjoying the ranger station, how about building inside the dome? It is possible to glitch through, but it might take a bit of work. You can literally build a floor across the whole of this dome with a little bit of messing around, although sadly you can't actually build down into it. And personally I feel like this is a lot of effort really, just to have maybe like the safest base, sure. And if you can get the chair method to work so you can glitch through the walls quickly and easily, then sure, that would be something good too. I couldn't actually get a stair to go up to it from the ground floor, but you of course just climb up the sticks. But another suggestion from some of the viewers watching. Treehugger HD did a much better job than me of building a base in the dome. And I might as well carry on showing you some more of the community base builds before I show you somewhat how to build out of bounds potentially if you want to risk it on the dead tree. This was the other really big flat spot that you might want to consider, although you'd have to put in some work at least by making sure it is flat enough. Evil Eye 64 has been a busy boy, not only starting that project, but this one too, pretty close by. Really like the use of incorporating the environment. Another great actual deck build on the corner from Brain Adder. Really like the way the roofs go, and obviously into a corner piece. If you've got shells blighting your build structures, don't forget you can use the bounce webs underneath them most of the time to help go ahead and move them elsewhere. Or move them into your base and really make it a feature. From small beginnings to obviously a much bigger project finished, vibe has definitely got a vibe here. Location is just in front of the hot dog stand in quite a large flat area. People have been complaining there's maybe not enough of these as they're used to the flagstones from Grounded 1 all across the flower beds. But if you actually chop away a lot of the grass, you can find the right space, and what a glow up. Great use of the different sides of the obviously pines. Sometimes it's not the size of your base, it's all about how you actually light it, and this one's a great build. Shout out to F11, location just on some dirt overlooking or close to the picnic table near the hedges. For players that really want that treehouse vibe, then the southwest tree might be your best bet, or the one that actually is to the southeast of the current playable space. Either way, some great locations to build up steady progress to an ultimate tree base. Corn here is obviously not afraid of heights. And now on to the clickbait that you might have seen from the thumbnail maybe. Yes, I built in the Forbidden Zone. This area may not get developed for like another year. But I've been fascinated by the idea of a dead tree. When you actually get up close to it, it is pretty much just an oak tree without many branches. But I think if this stays here for the following updates, it really will be a great place to build, as it is literally bang center in the middle of the whole map once it's finished. But getting there is a bit of an issue, and it's definitely a risk. I wouldn't really recommend this, as they will obviously be developing these areas in the future. But yeah, I do love this tree. You'll obviously have to build up to it pretty high to really get a good effect with some sort of staircase, but then you can go ahead and build. Although be warned, at the moment the tree does actually kind of glitch through, so pretty much not solid the further higher you go. So how'd you get there? Well, I'm probably going to do another smaller guide. I've seen a few people show this off now, and you guys have been desperate for me to go and check out the outbounds and give my opinion. But essentially, the rose garden, build yourself a chair. Obviously, if you're doing this in creative mode just to mess around and see what's there, it's going to be a lot easier. But finding that sweet spot to go into the terrain, and then your idea is that we've got to get lower. We've got to get beneath all of the bricks and the barrier that's blocking the way. It took quite a while in my stream, so you could go and watch it to see the struggle and exactly how I did it. But otherwise, like I said, look out for my video where I'll be showcasing all of the out of bounds areas and try and do this a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, essentially keep using glitches to go ahead and blend into more rocks, with the idea going that you'll get lower and lower. Once you're into it, you actually want to go back the other way, so not towards the outbound zone. Build some spiral stairs. Guys in stream were saying it takes about 15 of them maybe, but I ended up doing more ramps going down. And eventually you will be able to get down enough that you'll be able to build floors all the way across. So at the moment that is definitely challenging. If you're going to be using grass, maybe enough clover will do it. But even if you're just doing this in creative mode just to see what's there, why not? Eventually you will build far enough that you'll be able to then build up and then glitch through out to the top, and you're pretty much done. Just place another chair if you're really struggling to get out. Once the map gets worked on more and we get new zones to explore, look out for more detailed video guides, and I may even do some good locations within each one of the zones. Like I said, do come join Discord, share your pictures of your bases. You'll find a link to it in the comment section and description, and I'll see you at Bags for more very soon. Bye bye.